Hi. In this PPT, we will try to understand the modernizing legacy mainframes for AI and cloud-driven digital innovation. By the way, my name is Krantikumar Guduru. I have a deep expertise in mainframe modernization, application modernization, both on-premise and cloud migration, with the integration of AI, variety of tools. I do have experience in different domains, primarily the big chains, which I work with financial services and insurance clients. So what we are going to cover in this PPT is the mainframe reality, also modernization strategies, business and AI outcomes, implementation challenges, practical insights. The mainframe reality is something which we already know about it, but we will definitely going to cover a highlight on that. So this is the roadmap for this session. The mainframe is still everywhere. We know about it. That's how the modernization developed. So it's a decades-old system built in COBOL, which is aged language, and also it built on assembler on IBM Z series platforms. It continues to underpin the most critical operations in banking, insurance, and financial services, processing billions of transactions daily with unmatched reliability. We will understand more about these lines in upcoming slides. So the core tension here is the reliable but holding organizations back. This is interesting. You know why? Because since since the mainframe displayed its stability, reliability from decades, and the organization actually tried holding it back, but because of a couple of things which organizations wants to move away from the mainframe is one is all about the support, and second is all about the price. The first, when I say support, it's not from the IBM I'm talking about. It is from the language troubleshooting the COBOL, and we right now have very few great resources in hand because this been developed and deployed a few decades ago. That is a major challenge. And if somebody come in, hey, this is the issue which I need help from. If you're gonna ask somebody who is having a multi-language skill, but COBOL is such a strong language, it is really hard for them to troubleshoot since the code belongs to decades. So let's try to understand in a nutshell what mainframe do well, where they fall short. High volume transaction processing at scale is the strongest point for the mainframe. Exceptional uptime and reliability. This is a very strong part where organizations still want to withhold that, and they really don't want to go. This is about few years ago, but right now, slowly organizations are coming from that shell to test, validate, and work on advanced technologies. And decades of battle-tested business logic, yes, of course, it showed its stability, and also it has promised it is fulfilling the promise as it was developed for. So these are the core, on a high level, core areas where mainframe is really strong. But however, there are certain areas which is mainframe lagging still because we have advanced to number of technologies with multiple tools available in the market, which contribute to organizations in a low price, same promise how the mainframe is working, and more agility. And also, it helps users to use their mobile. Nowadays, everything is on mobile. So the application can be deployed on mobile and they can start working on the mobile, whereas the mainframe has such huge gap. So you can take an insurance. So for example, if you want to purchase a vehicle insurance, you go or open up your mobile. You don't need to sit in front of the laptop or system to update the, fill up the application and send it. You open your mobile, download the app, whatever, whoever the insurance vendor you want to work with, and then you get going. See, that's the advancement which we have right now, but where we don't have with the mainframe is that integration. So now let's understand more about the strategies. Now, the strategies play a vital role because if any vendor doesn't have a proper strategy, and it is really difficult or merely failure process to migrate or modernize. See, migrate and modernize, those are hand in hand, two different words I'm using it. So don't get confused with it, modernization and migration. So you need to understand both. They are very much interlinked. So don't get confused with that. So let's discuss about some of the strategies we used to modernize from the monolithic mainframe to cloud-ready architecture. And also we will try to understand some of the trade-ins, complexities, risk, and transformation depth. So here are some of the, or five, which I experienced in my experience all these years. So one is rehosting. Rehosting is little easier compared to other four, I would say, because all you do is you'll understand the requirement, and then you feel that heavy code changes are not required, and that's not required with the client. And if that is yes, you both are on the same agreement, then you'll go ahead with a lift and shift to cloud or any modern infrastructure which suits the application requirements, core requirement. So that is a rehosting. We call it as replatforming. Is something you are moving away from the existing platform, and also you are trying to get onto a new platform with a minimalistic changes. That is called replatforming, which means that you are beneath the application, beneath the data. You are changing the it could be OS, it could be database, it could be application layer. You're moving away from the X platform to the Y platform. And third one is refactoring. Restructure code, if a code for modularity without changing exterior behavior. So what exactly this means is the behavior of the application, the behavior of the code will never change. But what it is changing is the code you will restructure the code by using a third-party tools, where the third-party tools will convert the source code to a destination code. And believe me, everything cannot be converted automatically. You need to have talent in-house where understanding what being converted, what requires a manual effort, and how to automate that manual effort later down the stages. So that key factors are really important. So that you call as a refactoring. And rewriting, so this is you're rebuilding entire language. For example, you are on a COBOL. Now what you're going to do is you want to rebuild it, which means that you want to come out from that COBOL shell and you want to build or a rewrite a Java or a Python microservices, whatever you feel that is suitable for that application. So this requires an extensive investigation, extensive gathering of a data, and extensive workshops, and then you will come to a decision as a team along with the client where you are going to implement this, or in-house or external. So you need to come to a mutual agreement and pick up some sample data, then do your trial, showcase that yes, this is how it is, and these are the risks involved in it, and you will proceed from there. So it is like scrapping out everything and rebuilding everything. When I say scrapping, you're not going to touch the original, the source immediately, unless it is validated and proven. So the hybrid is the mainframe. Your mainframe will exist, and what you're going to do is you will introduce the cloud capabilities into the system. And this is something which nowadays has more demand, because you're not going away from your legacy systems completely, but to a certain extent, which will be ease for the resources who already have a handful of experience on the source. By introducing a new capabilities, they will get into a training phase where they'll get trained into it, and they'll be happy to support it. So, and again, no single strategy fits for all the clients. The right part actually depends on the client-side code, application, severity, the amount of risk client can take sometimes because of these conversion data issues, and how long they can wait. So budget, lot many things plays a major role here. And strategy trade-off landscape, choosing the right approach. So as we discussed earlier, any single approach or any single solution is not industry across. It's like one t-shirt size doesn't fit to everybody. It's the same. So rehosting, let us understand the little one-liner, but it gives a deeper understanding on this. Rehosting delivers speed with minimal disruption. Refactoring actually unlocks modularity without a full rewrite. You're not going to rewrite completely, but you will rewrite to a certain extent where this refactoring is successful or demands a rewrite. Hybrid is the most common, as we discussed, enterprise pattern. Preserve the core, extend to the cloud. And rewriting, as we discussed, the deepest transformation, but demands the most investment in time, money. Yeah, so it is very complex environment unless it is not eligible for rehosting, not eligible for refactoring, not eligible for hybrid. Then that's when we jump into the rewriting solutions. So mainframe, as we are discussing about the hybrid advantage, so mainframe plus cloud, a practical coexistence model which supports the digital experience layer and a mainframe core, cloud services, and also API gateway middleware. So the meaning of this is you can be able to integrate to certain extent and automate the regular processes which are happening, as well as you can also do integrate with API gateways, middleware, and also use variety of cloud services. And like, for example, if you want to containerize the process, you want to build a DevOps pipeline orchestration, you can do a lot of things if you can able to find the find and understand the current existing system and brainstorm it and see how to integrate all these with the existing system, if that is possible. Because I will not say that every system, every client is same, as I said a couple of times earlier. And this, if the client is eligible for this, then I think there will not be high risk, and there won't be years of migration, because usually out of five, at least three migrations or four migrations, I would sometimes call, depends on the code, the billions of rows code size. It may take anywhere between 2 years to 8 years. So we should keep that in mind. Anyways, upcoming slides we will learn a little more about those factors. So when we talk about this migration, modernization, this is not all about the technical exercise, but this is all about imagine that you're transforming a business. You're not doing only the technical phase. The technical phase is a part two, but the part one, you need to understand the business. What is the current business? What is the impact if you modernize? Assessment. What is the roadmap for this? If with the current, if you modernize, what will be the roadmap? And how far? What is the duration you are thinking from now to 10 years, from now to 15 years? What are the tools or different AI utilities or tools you are going to integrate with it, so that for next 10 years or 15 years, this business can go good without any issues or any requirement for further refactoring or the modernization. So we also need to understand what is this modernization bringing to the table. So what it is unlocking. So understand this. For sure, no doubt, our mainframe actually gives you performance. We all know about it. But why we are modernizing, we already understood from our previous slides. Now try to understand what modernization unlocks actually. So your transaction process performance, so the performance will not go down. It is equal or more than that. And also the agility to have the applications on your mobile and digital services on your mobile. Like you can open the, for example, as I said earlier, so you can open the insurance app on your mobile, you can iPad, you can Mac, Windows, anywhere you can able. So that feasibility, that ability, which one of the powerful ability which can be unlocked, and you can also automate number of bad jobs. You can automate number of monitoring things, number of reports, number of regular activities can be pipelined, and they can be orchestrated. And also you can enforce the security. You can enforce the security to detect the fraud detection, intelligent automation directly into the enterprise workflow. So these are some of the things which can be unlocked, but there are many more. Again, this totally depends on the requirement of the client. AI use cases enabled by modernization, as we discussed. So, fraud detection, predictive underwriting, real time analytics, intelligent process automation. So, as I said, so one of them, my insurance client. So, usually, insurance business, finance business, healthcare business, these business, they never want to do a trial and error method in their production systems or the well established systems. They ensure they test it out for a number of years, then they will proceed further on the lower systems, test it, rigorous testing, and then they move forward. So believe me, and when I say insurance companies adopted this, then you should understand how modernization is approved by the industry giants. And you will get the real time analytics, streaming data from your core systems into the cloud native analytics. And also, as I repeated earlier, so as I said earlier, AI agents can be deployed on your the node servers, and it will take care of your automations, and it also do the fraud detections, encryptions, decryptions, and also it ensures that every transaction patterns, if it finds any kind of a different pattern, it will immediately alert you. Imagine that any human sitting in front of a system analyzing a unknown pattern or a different things out of billions of transactions is quite impossible. That's how your system's being attacked. But now, since we have an advanced technology in place and implemented, it is very easy if such things detected, and it will be reported immediately to the right departments. And having said that, I will not say this is a cakewalk for implementing or planning a modernization and implementing them. This is a large scale mainframe modernization programs face predictable and manageable obstacle. So you will have the issues. And I won't say that every issue you know it. No, there will be unknown areas, there will be dark areas, there will be gray areas where you need to brainstorm and work with the client and see what you can do, or what is a mutual understanding you're going to reach to, so that your business and your logic, everything will be intact and nothing going to get hurt. So there are four hard problems from the top list. I would pick that as, because since when we talk about the mainframe, we talk about the COBOL. Listen, so only handful of people nowadays we have where we can able to reach out for help. But imagine that you got an issue and there is no expert in your home or in a talent pool who can able to understand that hot coded, very depth logic written COBOL. What's going to happen over there? You don't have a documentation because this is decades back written code, and you don't know. You may have, you may not have. Even though you have documentation, how well people can able to interpret, to troubleshoot, fix that production issue. Can you take the chance? No, because everybody in the world right now, they want to have their application up and running every single second. And if the moment your application goes down unknowingly, and you guys are trying to interpret the code who wrote it 30 years back, and you're taking time, nobody is going to happy about it. So that's where I'm coming from. So that's one of the very dark area. So why we need to move away from those dark areas to an area where it should be easy to fix, easy to identify, easy to make sure everything is up and running, easy to monitor, easy to identify before any problem happens most of the time. So, and also data models that evolved or organically with no scheme. Yeah, the governance is another important point. So, when three decades or 2 decades back, so how strong the governance was. So you need to question yourself and think about it. But right now, if you go with the latest technologies, latest systems, governance is a first step they talk about. Risk and compliance is first step. Everybody will talk about. First, you establish that. Then we'll talk later. That's a further right now. Anyways, multi-year program spanning multiple organizations, units, and vendors. So understand this. This is not a single person show or a single team show. This is a multi-organizational units and vendors because sometimes depends on the complexity of number of applications. One single vendor cannot maintain one application, but number of vendors will be involved. This is a multi-year program, so make sure you strategize properly. Why? Because I'm emphasizing here, because if you don't do that, 100% failures you can experience. So zero tolerance for disruptions. So which means that do not touch the existing system until your modernization strategy is implemented successfully, tested, validated, and leave the system, run the system in parallel, and then you take a call with the mutual understanding. That's what the meaning of it is. So the hidden risk. So you need to rediscover the lost business logic. What exactly this means, because you do have a wonderful logic inside the COBOL programs, not documented, but it will not be as well as in the minds of the people who developed, believe me, because 30 years later, you come back and ask, hey, do you remember that you developed this, you coded this, can you fix this? No. End of the day, humans, he or she cannot remember that. So you need to rediscover that lost business logic. Modernization must preserve this logic before any migration proceeds. So what it means is you need to completely understand the business logic, put that in black and white, get a mutual understanding, then you move forward. Then how do you move forward? There are different approaches. So another advantage is, if I have to do a code analysis, I'm a bunch of people. It's not a one person show anytime. So it gonna take months, sometimes years. Now, with the AI integration, with the automated tools, you should be able to analyze a code and patterns, extract. There are extraction tools which will help you to extract the code and analyze as much as they could, because still they are developing. So they will do max work. So sometimes for an individual team, it may take a year, but these tools can able to get you on road maybe in months. Yeah. And upcoming days there will be more, maybe in days, so we can expect that. So business IT workshop to validate discovered logic. Now this is very critical. Imagine that you got the business logic and you are good now. Now all you have to do is, don't keep it to yourself. Don't say, hey, I got the logic, now I'm going ahead and implementing it. No, it doesn't work in that way, because the logic which you understand, that need to be agreed by the business as well, because the way you think, that could be different. The way business thinks is important, not what you think. So you need to conduct a number of workshops, not a single 2 3 workshops you will get into a understanding. No, it's never going to happen in that way. You need to conduct number of workshops. You need to knowledge transfer what you understood. You need to get knowledge transfer from the existing teams and get to a mutual understanding. Again, all the slides, all the lines, I'll say only one word: mutual understanding and agreement. If you're not getting in every point, then you will lose the game. So you need to understand that. So always ensure that you, wherever you're implementing, your client should be on a mutual understanding, each and every point in black and white. And the governance, this is the real important slide. I would say that, because when we say these are multi-year contracts, think that you need to have enough funds. For example, in your assessment, if you're thinking that this strategy implementation, validation, uh, and go live, this is going to take 3 years, you need to have at least 4 years of budget. So plan accordingly and plan your deliverables in agile methodology, not in a waterfall methodology. Because in agile methodology, you and client will have a 100% transparency, and client will have up to date progress on what are the issues, where are the blocks, and how are we working, how are we supporting, what help we need. And there will be zero surprises to a client, because you'll have epics, you'll have sprints, you'll have stories, and you'll have a change request, you have approvals, you do a lot many things, and everything is visible. Everything, you show the burn hours, burn chart, yes, the team, the number of teams are working, yes, this is the work they're doing, these many stories they did, and this is the progress which we made, and these are the sprints which we are able to cover, and we reached this milestone under this sprint. So this is 100% visibility, and client will definitely be happy with it. And also, yeah, the next third one is the risk and compliance integration. This is crucial, because you're going to read the data from the client systems. The data could be PII data, so, or any other compliant, any other critical data. So ensure you, your team, client risk and security team, analyze and, if possible, mask the data, and then take into the agreement with them and move forward. Because data is everything. Data is crucial. So without that, without security team clearance, do not introduce any AI tools, do not introduce any new tools. Any tool which you want to introduce and play with the data, you need to get approval from the client side. And change management is all about how you communicate plans to the client, and you need to have a vendor coordination, because, as I said earlier in one of the slides, so you may have a number of vendors working on it, because your client application, right, current application is being managed by some X, Y vendors, and you are ZB vendor who is going to um, modernize and implement. So there should be a client and a vendor coordination alignment team who will be working along with this program life cycle to make sure everyone's life is and should not never mix up with the things. Now, there are certain lessons. Every implementation, every strategy will have lessons drawn from the modernization program. That could be financial, insurance, or any other matter of fact. What to watch for? What works? What will not work? How to move forward with confidence and all those stuff. So, key takeaways for leadership. So, start with discovery, not demolition. When I say demolition, do not think that, okay, I understood the code, now I don't need of that system, get rid of that system, no, we are good. No, that is not at all going to work. You need to make sure you start the discovery, don't touch the existing running system. And also, hybrid is not a compromise, it is a strategy. There are two ways of thinking in this way, so that's why I'm making this point. So most successful programs treat the mainframe as a stable core and build cloud native capabilities around it, which will drastically, or in a positive way, incrementally actually reduce the risk of while accelerating digital delivery. So your core component plus native capability utilities will give you a really good strategy on the business front. And also, you need to understand what how you strategize, how do you modernize the project involving the AI readiness. So what requires that? Because you need to architect in that way where you can save hours, you can save client money, you can, with the quality, meeting the delivery timelines. So that's how you need to introduce AI readiness to the modernization strategy. And again, one more time, governance is not optional. Programs that lack strong sponsorship or not having a phased governance, no compliance integration, they will run into an issue cost wise, security wise, a big failure can be experienced. These are the four baseline steps I would call as, but depends on a project. There will be many more steps, but I would call these four steps as a very basic steps on which your foundation, on which your building going to be constructed, like strategy, implementation and all. So assessment, by this slide, you might have understood what we do under the assessment, what are the things which we do under foundation, migration. So you're going to select from out of the five factors, you select one factor, depends on the requirements in a client. And lastly, innovation. How do you integrate with AI to get maximum productivity from this modernization? So, as I said, most enterprise programs span 3 to 7 or 8 years. So you need to ensure you plan accordingly because this is a long-term transformation. This is not something which is going to happen in six months to 1 year. So end of the day, what we need to understand is we need to move the legacy foundation using a right strategy with a modern architecture, using an AI drive innovation and solutions to get an optimal productivity. And also, see, end of the day, every client, they want to spend money, but they don't want to spend money again and again. So the solution which you provide with the AI driven innovation must save them from the existing cost. That should be that's how, with the stability and quality, that's how your solutioning should be. And the interesting questions, which I guess which I already covered, but one more time, how is AI transforming mainframe modernization and accelerating microservices adoption? So automated refactoring helps convert monolithic applications into modular services. So this in depth we discussed already. So uh, and also, AI-driven code analysis identifies legacy logic in COBOL systems. This also we went through, which I mean to say is you introduce AI-driven tools and you push the code to the tools, and definitely it will be a cost saving with the quality. But there are certain advantages also. It will save time, it will save money, and also ensure the tools will ensure that it will give you the right data, but the talent should a from a person who is working or a people who are working on that tool should have the knowledge of the tool, should be able to validate the output from the tool, because AI tools are still evolving. So you don't have talent, don't play with the AI tools and don't implement them. That's what my recommendation is. What outcomes can organization expect from AI-assisted legacy transformation? This is a very good question. So, faster system modernization, reduced migration risk. This line, by this time, from all those slides, you might have already understood how we can able to make the system faster in modernizing effect I'm talking about, and also reducing the migration risk when you automate the stuff. So most of the risk will be eliminated, not 100%, but most of the risk. Improved agility through cloud and microservices architectures, enablement of real-time analytics, AI models, and digital services. One another line which I would like to add is, imagine that you're working on the implementation part, and also the client leadership, executive leadership, he or she will not have time to come and talk to you on that. But using these AI tools, every morning, he or she can able to get the report when they click on when they get into their Outlook inbox. They will have these reports that we can generate the reports and send them every day about where we are, what is that we are working on right now, what is the plan for this week, how much we accomplished last week. So imagine that how happy they will be. They don't need to come and knock your door and ask that, hey, where are we right now, what is that we blocked, I heard that the other team has got some issue and you are still working on it. No, you will avoid all those things. Executive leaders will have a lot of other activities which they need to focus on. So These kind of implementations will give them more a happy time to understand, okay, they don't need to spend much time with you understanding what's going on with it, because they'll get better understanding going through those reports. So that's one of the key element I would call that, as nowadays it is happening, but it need to happen more to keep everyone happy. All right, I think that would be all. Any questions for discussion, welcome. I look forward for the conversation. Thank you.